So Paul is an absolutely incredible human being, wise, brand strategist, professional human being, full of love. So definitely stay tuned. We're going to talk about him in just a second. Before that, the sponsor message. If you're an entrepreneur, a high achiever, a visionary, a professional expert, and you want to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, right now we're launching a podcast mastermind. And if you want to find out more about how you can get your message out to the world in a bigger way, contact me, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and message me there and let me know you're interested in launching your podcast. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and this week it is by, let's put it on the screen, it's by Mr. Tom S. Rousseau Jr. Chris Burns brings out the best in all of us. I have listened to several of the podcasts, and I am continuously impressed with Chris's genuine enthusiasm for not just his guests, but for a life worth living. I highly recommend the Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self podcast and suggest you add this to your list of must-listen-to podcasts. Thanks so much, Thomas. If you are listening right now and you want to give us a review, you want to get more of these episodes, give us feedback, let us know how we can improve the show and make it even better, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store, and you can give us a review like that. Thank you so much in advance for doing that. As I mentioned, this professional human being and lover and liver of life, Mr. Paul McFarlane, is about to come on in just a minute. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. He's been on the show, I don't know, probably 8, 9, 10 times, a lot of times, because every time he comes on, it's an incredible conversation, full of curiosity, full of wonder, full of discovery, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And especially in this conversation of work like you die today, you're going to love it. You're going to be mind blown, because that's who Paul McFarlane is. Let's introduce him, then we'll bring him on the screen. Mr. Paul McFarlane, president, founder, and professional human being of the 1111 Experiment. Paul is a business and brand strategist with global Fortune 500 experience. He's a writer, designer, producer, director, public speaker, trainer, motivational, inspirational expert, screenplay writer, musician, and more. But it all comes from one place: Paul's desire to bring universal love, oneness, and success to businesses and individuals, to do good and help people realize their greatest potential. Love, peace, and understanding in everything Paul McFarlane does, but business and brand strategist will do for today and every day. Every day, every day, every day. Paul, you ready to rock this?
Always.
Always. We're rocking it. We are live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you for being here and for your big heart and just being such an inspiration and source of wisdom in my life. And, you know, our mastermind is just one of the things I treasure the most dearly, you know, having those conversations, the consistency, bringing the best out of each other, and you are an instrumental part of that. So thank you, man.
And to you too.
Thank you. Let's dive right into the theme, which is don't die with your music still inside of you. What does that mean for you, Mr. Paul McFarlane?
That should be everyone's biggest fear, if you have any. If you have any. That you haven't lived your life without regrets and full manifestation and expression of who you are. Hence, my topic for today.
I love it. And I love that, you know, it should be everyone's biggest fear. Like that when you said that.
If you have any at all.
Right. If you have any at all. And I remember that I think statistically there's somewhere that this is proven that people's biggest regrets in life is that they didn't do enough. The shame, the guilt, feeling like they wish they could have changed something, done something different, which brings sorrow and sadness and disappointment at the end of someone's life. Some of the most biggest pains that people ever experience in their lifetime is at the end, when they say, I wish I could have done something different, because they didn't get their message out. They didn't step into their power and their greatness.
They didn't love enough. They didn't, There's that great saying, you won't see an epitaph that says, if only I'd spent a little more time at the office. Well, we'll see.
I love it. I love it. So great start. Paul, tell us a little bit more about you, what you stand for, and how you serve your clients.
Okay, I'm a business and a brand strategist. That means I do creative marketing and business strategy. But what I do, I always stand on the side of the world that's going to get hit by all this shit. In other words, when people are thinking, well, our strategy should be do this, and we should be in social media, we need to look at AI, and we should do this, and we should get precision marketing. And say, hey. First of all, you realize people hate advertising in the first place. You really do. So what are we going to do to make it different? What are we going to make it be the highlight of someone's day? Like, wow, what the fuck? Wow. Hey, everybody, look, let's all quit our jobs and work for this company. You know, that kind of vibe, that kind of wonder is what the world wants. And so that's the only thing I want to do. Other than that, screw it. In other words, I'm always standing on the side of the public. I don't really stand on the side of the client or even my own agency. I'm always, on their side, your side, our side.
Yeah. That's good. And I think one thing we talked about before is like really making someone's day with whatever it is that you have to do. And I know you and I talked especially about like we are in interruption. People are already oversaturated, overstimulated, exhausted, and tired from everything that they got going on. Don't be that extra thing that just tips them over the edge or pisses them off even more. Be the thing that makes their day, brightens their day, brings love and inspiration to them.
Chris, right here, right now, you and I, someone scrolling by, if we aren't doing something right now to be, again, the highlight of someone's day with something to make them think, laugh, or again, think, shame on us. It's our fault if we don't do that.
As professionals, it's a requirement to be in business, right? And to take on the calling, to take on the mission, to say I signed up for this. Now what does that entail? What does that require?
Well, look, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that most of what business and brands, go ahead, scroll up and down. You'll see. It puts out average, ordinary, forgettable crap. 99% of it is that. And that's just unacceptable to me. Unacceptable. So let's just dig right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
I'm going to die. You're going to die. Whoever you are watching this live right now or scrolling past or watching later, you're going to die. Nothing you can do about it. That's a journey I know I'm going to take, and so I'm packing for it. The thing I said there, work like you die today. Work like you die today. Notice that it is not saying work yourself to death today. No. Work like you die today. Work as if you will die today, right? What does that mean? Well, it comes to my favorite interview question, which is, if you knew you were going to die, you knew it in 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, you were going to have perfect health, meaning at the very last second, probably a 16-ton weight will just drop off you. So you'll be perfect right to the last second. And you have all the money in the world. Most people have to think about that to even get their hands around it. Like mine. You have 2 weeks left to live. Perfect health. You have all the money in the world, but you only have 2 weeks starting now.
It's your favorite prop ever.
What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? 2 weeks left. What would you do? What would you do? And most people have no idea. They're just like, 2 weeks, right? And that shows people are living their lives without any focus, even knowing who they are, let alone what they're doing. So work like you die today is really a challenge to you, a challenge to myself, a challenge to anyone watching. Are you doing something that you would choose to do if you had 2 weeks left to live and had all the money in the world? How many people would say, oh, well, okay, I just get on my friends, we travel, and it's going to be my family and my friends today. And whatever the day you die, where are you going to be? Oh, I don't know, just some, okay, all right. Somebody else. And there are people in 2 weeks, they say, oh, I would do this. I would support this. I would create this. I wouldn't be able to see it finished, but I'd get it started. I'd write a book and I'd get it done in 1 week and I have a week left. Yes. And you can see they're on fire with something. They know who they are and what they mean. Those are the people this message is for. Work like you died today. Well, guess what? If you never retire, that will be true one day. I promise you. I'm never really going to retire. I'll just do less of it, at some point. So I will absolutely be working and dying in someday. Could be today. I don't know. Well, there was an extra breath. I love that. So work, life, death. Work like you die today. Make sure everything you do is in alignment with what you would do if you had 2 weeks left to live, had all the money in the world. And some, well, yeah, but I just gotta make money now because because I've got to just make the money here. This isn't what I really want to do. Oh, really? Oh, really? So if you had to do what you really want to do and leave your family and grab whatever's in your hands right now and just start walking towards what you really wanted to do, would that be a well-spent life? Would that be you doing wrong? Would you be, come on. We're born alone and we die alone too. I don't care if you have all your friends and family looking at you while you die. I don't want that personally. But the point is, work like you die today. That means do the work that you have to do. Do the work that you must do. Do the work that your heart cries out to do. Do the work that you want to be remembered for doing. So if you're anyone who's about to put some crap shit out on social media, on Instagram now, just because I got to put stuff out there all the time. Oh, you got to post all the time, Fuck you. No, don't do that. Stop. Look at what you're about to put out there. Would that be a good epitaph on your tombstone? What you just wrote? What you just put out there? If it is, fine. Forgive me for questioning you. But if it isn't, get in the practice of making everything count. Yeah. Making everything, bleed for the world from your heart though, Show the world what you really are as if this was your last chance to say it. This matters to me.
That's powerful. So that obviously takes some level of self-awareness and knowingness of who we are to be able to effectively do that. What's stopping people from being that self-aware? And
I don't know.
What can we do today? Give me more.
What's stopping people? My industry. And every entrepreneur that's watching this, because of the crap we're all putting out there. Oh, not we are all putting out there. We're being told, what were kids' biggest fears in school-age kids, grade school kids around the world? They say number one is not doing well in school because, they'll be ashamed. Their parents, everyone will look down on them. Okay, number one fear. Number two is not feeling connected. Not feeling connected. How many friends do we have on Facebook? How many have you seen face to face? It's the distraction industry. Mm-hmm. We see, thousands of things every day that don't mean a damn thing. But they all eat up a little bit of our consciousness, all eat up a little bit of our... Look at the price we pay for our own attention. The price we pay for our mind's attention in social media. I've got a good friend I was talking to recently, and she gave up Facebook, maybe for all time. And the number of times a day where I think, could I do it? What would I lose if I did? What would I gain if I did? See, these are fundamental questions of who we are. Why are we here? What does this all mean? Where did I come from? Where am I going? So work like you died today. Work like this is your last chance to express yourself. Work like this is the message you would leave to the world after you're gone. Work like you're making your own tombstone. Work like you're writing your own epitaph. Work like you're... Well, mayflies only live for a day. And how do they spend their day?
Eating poop?
They eat, they fly, and they mate. Not too bad, actually. So finding and really discovering what that is, and not that it's you find it and then you're done. No, it can grow and change, but moment to moment, day to day, know what that is. Check in with yourself. My own personal dreams, I check in with them every day to make sure they're still pulling me and compelling me. And I still want to smell them and drink them and taste them and eat them, And if it doesn't feel right, I look at it a little bit harder and I look at something else. But so far, it's just still going vroom. So I know I have that gift or that curse of obsessive knowing.
Well, it's the seeking. You were obsessively seeking, and then you discovered tangible, concrete things for you and what's true for you. And over time, you've had to rediscover less and less because you know more and more of who you are. And you have that gift of wisdom and time that you've already invested into your life, and most likely pain and suffering and failure. And hey, that's what I don't want. Here's what I do want, and also tons of successes and things that, fulfill you and move you forward and keep you inspired. And the love, what generates love in your life, what radiates love that you experience, and then you're able to share that back with people too.
Well, Chris, those are pretty darn sexy, essential questions. I'm going to ask you, when in your life did you realize you had permission to even ask yourself those questions?
When did I realize I had permission? I would say I knew from birth. My soul knew. At the deepest level, my human being level, my heart knew from the very, very beginning, I'm meant to expand. I'm meant to ask questions. I'm meant to self-discover, become more self-aware. That is why I'm here. And so I think I knew it from the beginning. I definitely did. And then over time, it got conditioned out of me, and I wanted to play small and safe and just be comfortable and get by. And then I recognized, hey, to be able to achieve my dreams and my goals, I have to keep expanding. I've been on this trajectory of contraction and becoming smaller and living out of fear and suffering and all this stuff. That's not who I really am. And so I had to course correct and turn around.
Could you imagine being part of a family where the parents, two dads, two moms, and mom and a dad, a sea urchin and a platypus, whatever you have for parents, where the parents were self-actualized, self-aware, radiant, enlightened beings that lived their dreams and their real deep life's purpose, were healthy, wealthy givers and shining bright lights that just spread all that and supported their children from the day they were born to fly, to explore, to question, to wander, and support anything they wanted to do with encouragement and freedom. And the child in that family had siblings that were all the same way, and they lived in a community and with friends and relatives that everyone was the same way, where there was just great universal love and support for each other, and people had a sense of goodwill as they were growing. And could you imagine what that would be like?
We're creating it.
Well, right, we are creating it. So I guess anyone who's watching this should realize mine wasn't like that. No one's was. So it's about time, right, to ask those fundamental questions. And when you have those fundamental questions, as fundamental as the fact that we were born and we will most surely die, and apparently we're supposed to do that dirty four-letter word that ends in K, in between, work. And, oh, the other was not dirty. Not at all. And you want to be dirty, it's okay. But the point is, it's It just shows up all the time that things seem insubstantial, meaningless, hollow, thin. Blech. And that means people are doing that because they're being told to do it, or the ones who I really follow to the ones who are self-expressing. Entrepreneurs of any kind who are like us, being seen from like the thorax on up and our heads on a screen saying, this is what I do and I can help you. I've got these 7 rules you should follow. I mean, get my ebook and download here and click here and go to my seminar and blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Okay, I can tell the people who are saying it because they have to, and the ones who really mean it, and the ones who do it because I read somewhere I should do it, and they're mailing it in. It's like, oh, give it up, start over. Do you really want to do that? Make me believe you really want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I was just made a post on LinkedIn a little while ago. I feel like I'm an executive creative director on LinkedIn, looking at so many people's posts and saying, no, make that better. No, start or do that again. No, is that the best you can do? You know, and that's just my nature because well, draw your own conclusions. But that's where it comes from. Knowing who you are, giving yourself permission to really ask the fundamental questions of who you are, what does your life mean, and then go get it and tell the world why and express that as if you die today. You know, every day doing something as if it's sort of like the epitaph or the obituary of your own life. And I don't mean that it simply says Paul MacFarlane died today at the age of and da-da-da. No, but something that would feel like a summation of your life. Do that every day and make sure that is front and center and first and foremost in the expression of everything you do. I guarantee you, you'll feel better about it. 2, the world will probably notice it more because it'll have compelling passion and reality to it. 3, you don't need 3. Those are the 2 you need.
Is it as simple as asking the question, what would I do today at the beginning of every day if today was my last day?
I just challenge your word. It's as easy as asking that.
Okay.
It isn't necessarily simple. Or it can be simple, but not easy, right? So maybe that's where you were going. And it is as simple as asking that question.
Yeah.
But to really think about it, you know, it's like, how many breaths have you taken during our interview?
A number.
Did you notice any of them?
A couple of them.
Yeah, right. Okay, same thing. So noticing our breath is about as easy or as simple, but you can do it. But you can do it.
Would there be a quantity of time that you think is a good habit, a good muscle to develop of asking that question and spending time on it?
Probably.
Listen to your own guidance. I think that's the message. Find out what works for you. For everyone
Absolutely. Find out what works for you. There's a couple of things I do every day that takes about 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And both of them, I feel like, okay, if I can't take 5 minutes to do this, and I say I don't have free 5 minutes, then I've got a bigger problem that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
Or a more practical problem. So, you know, you've heard me talk about this a lot, having a daily practice of some kind. Mm-hmm. We already have a daily practice. It's something we may not notice, but an intentional daily practice that feels good for your mind, for your heart, for your body, or for your soul is a good way to get closer and get into that.
Yeah. It's not just about going through the motions and doing the thing, but it's about being present in it. I notice with reading, that's been a big thing for me. It was just about reading as many pages as I could and skimming through it, and to have an intention of, I'm facing this challenge right now in my health, wealth, relationships, whatever. I'm reading this book to find the solution. I'm reading this book to find what my next step is, to find a new perspective, to find a resource, whatever it might be. You see the book and receive what's in the book completely differently when you pre-frame and say, here's what I'm looking for, here's what will make the difference when I read this.
Seek and ye shall find.
Yeah.
You know, books are good, really good analogy. There are books that you can get into and they're fun and you can fly through them. Yeah. And then there are books that are so rich that like every chapter, every paragraph is like eating an entire candy store full of candy. It's too much. You can just radiate and vibrate on 2 or 3 sentences that can carry you through the rest of your life. They're so good. I have one of those books sitting right here and one right over here. But everyone's got to find what's harmonic for them. You see, but I'm saying with insistence and repetitive clarity, hopefully, is that it really matters that you are speaking as if it's your last day, working as if you die today, because you're expressing what is the most vital to you. And there will be people say, no, you can't afford to do that. No, you have to be able to keep your job. You have to do what you're told. You got security. You've got a loan to pay off, student debt. You've got a family to provide for. You've got a family to provide for. Oh, my God. Yeah, right. Okay. So you're in that trap of fear. Then save this video. You know, you can save the video on Facebook. Yeah. Save it, watch it when you think you are dying. But those daily practices that get you closer to giving yourself permission to ask those questions. Right? I mean, like you're intense about everything. And you have like a client of mine, a bit like a terrier that goes, and my job is to keep him on a bit of a leash so if he actually goes all the way with one of them. But you do everything the same way, right? And whenever you change your focus from this to this, you give it all you have. I wonder sometimes if you kept going with it and kept going with it and kept going with it, what might happen. I don't know. But that intensity can be brought to not only your activity, your work, but your introspection, to your meditation, to your awareness. You can bring an intensity to your softness and bring a softness to your intensity.
This is good.
And the thing is that most people die in really poor health. That's why most people die in bed, weak, barely able to lift a hand to their head. You know, it's like, I'm going to die outdoors. Put me on the ground, under a tree, under the stars, under the clouds, in the lightning storm and pouring cold rain and snow. I don't care. Let me see the sky and a tree and some flowing water. Because you put a person who's dying in bed as if, then they'll be comfortable. Well, why don't they look comfortable then? You know? Just put me where I want to be, not indoors, not in ICU, not in a whatever. Drag my ass out under the stars, under the sky, please. So if I'm with you and you think I'm kicking the bucket, you have my permission to drag me by the heels, head bumping all the way out of the front porch, boom, 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 get me outdoors. I know. So it's not the idea, you know, that you think of on the day you die, or like you die today, like you're dying weak. You're dying because your dream is dying. Your dream died today because you gave up on it. You turned away from your dream. Work as if you die. Work like you die today, so that the vitality of you is expressed in every word, in every action. And if you don't know how to get there, that's where you go into what you and I are talking about, you know, about those daily habits, those daily practices, those penetrating deep questions. You know?
Yeah. Because I think as you're saying that, to work as if, you know, you're going to die today, live as if you're going to die today with love. How do you show up like that?
As if everything matters.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, if someone ever puts something out, just even share a meme or something on social media, how do you know today isn't the day and that isn't the chance that the person who's going to bring you everything you want in life is going to see it? Can you tell me that's not going to happen? I can tell you for sure it might happen, so why take a chance? Put something out there that, well.
So this is good. I want to get more practical. And I love using myself as a
more practical
as
okay.
as a
I think
case study.
I think practical.
As more tangible, more tangible and applicable to me. That's what I mean.
All right, let's do it.
So
let's do it.
The vision for me, as we've talked about before, is if I was able to, if I had 2 weeks to live, I'd really have everyone experience being seen, being heard, being loved, feeling like they mattered, like they made a difference, like they're and receiving that message and integrating it. However that happened, whatever broadcasting system, whatever facilitation of exercises and transformation and seminars, whatever around the world to make that happen and have people experience that and remember that their voice matters and that they matter and that experience that presence in life, the fulfillment of the present moment is super magical. So working back from that, right now my focus is the podcast mastermind, right? Helping people get their message out. And I want to know, how do I better step into living as if today is my last day and putting out content about podcasting and this mastermind as if it was my last day? Where do I start with that? What's the next step that you think?
All right. This is officially changed. Paul is now interviewing Chris. Do you have a graphic you can switch out here?
Sure.
Chris. For reals now. Why do you want to help people be successful podcasters?
Why? Because I see the difference it's made in my life. My heart has opened up so much. My connection with people, with guests, learning to trust myself. Like I see the difference that I'm making in people's lives. I value myself, and I want to share that with other people.
Well, I felt it, and I like it so much. I want you to feel it too. Like, this is so good. Try this. Just like that, right? Right? I've experienced it, and I like it so much. Yeah. I'm going to give it to you. Now think, what is that archetypally?
It's like a teacher. It's a mentor. It's a coach. It's someone who's been
particular kind, though. Think about it. A particular kind of a teacher, a particular kind of a coach. What's the difference between someone who's in a social group and they smoke? Mm-hmm. How do they act about the fact that they're smoking? Now, what is it like to be in a social group with a reformed smoker? I used to smoke. Oh my God, it took years off my life. The doctors told me, oh, I'm so glad you gave it up. Do you need help getting off? See, that's one way of what you're talking about. I've done something and I want you to, or I used to be that way.
Right. So it's like an evangelist kind of thing, someone who's just like, who's experienced the transformation and they're so excited, so high on life and what it's done that they're convicted.
Yeah, you're a self-evangelist, or you're an evangelist for another thing.
Right.
You're a preacher, a teacher, all that. So the first thing is knowing exactly why, because that has to be on full display. Mm-hmm. In other words, I have a meme that I put out for a while that says, your brand smells like revenue. Wrong. Wrong. Your brand smells like revenue. Oh, wrong. You're doing this just for the fucking money. Wrong. In other words, if you had anything that smelled from a distance, like Chris is doing this because he thinks this is a market that he can get, and people are doing this and he can make money doing it. If it smells like that in 2019, wrong. Yeah. So if it comes from, I have to do this with focused, unidirectional, North Star passion and fire, you have the chance to get someone's attention. They may think, oh, this guy seems pretty intense and obsessively, I think he believes what he's selling. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll listen now. See, no bullshit. No bullshit. No bullshit. It's got to be all pure. I would do this if this was my last day. In fact, in case we don't get to this, I'll tell you this now. I think you already almost do this. So I'm going to give you this idea. What you might do for any of your clients as a value added is make a video for them. and send it to them. And that is a video that if you died after making that video, that's the video that you want them to refer to for the rest of their life. Anytime they feel like they're a little less than, they're a little down, they're a little doubting, they're a little sad, they should watch this video. That should be your gift, that you're speaking as if from your deathbed or your death treadmill or your death motorcycle or your death parachuting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could give them that little gift, and it doesn't matter. It could be 20 seconds or 20 minutes, you know? That would be an interesting little thing, because we all, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe some of you also have songs or videos, movies, or whatever that are the ones you go to anytime you think you need to drink. You go and you watch those. I've got lots. You probably have lots, right? Well, doing something very intimate, personal for those people might be cool. So there's your little idea. Put that away somewhere. Okay. So yeah, you have to make sure whatever you do, it comes from a clarity of truth, your heart, an obsessive necessity. You have to. And if that is what it feels like, that's the first thing to get their attention, so they will believe you. Well, maybe some people who know both of us, or maybe know me, know that I have this thing called a diamond, right? And the top of the diamond is literally where, oh, you're a motivational coach who helps people build podcasts. I know what podcasts are. I know what a motivational, inspirational coach is, so I know what that is. Okay, now, what's your value proposition? What are you going to do for me? I sort of like the idea of doing a podcast. I'm not 100% sure. I'm open to the idea. You seem to be pretty, fired up about it. Give me your pitch, your value proposition, which today is what, my friend?
What's what? Value proposition?
What is your value proposition for that? In other words, what important problem are you solving for people who are considering podcasts, and what's in it for them?
Yeah, the problem that I solve is people who are overwhelmed and stressed out, attempting to get their message out, leave a bigger legacy, and impact people. And I give them the guidance and the clarity to get their podcast launched in 90 days or less.
So why are they overwhelmed and stressed?
Because there's so many distractions in our current world, different ways that they can build their business and make an impact. And you mean they're distracted by other things they're doing to build their business, or just by other things? Both.
Okay. So with one, you're offering focus. Okay. I'm helping you focus. If you're distracted by other things, you could potentially say, I'll show you how to focus and not be distracted. That's one. Then two, if you're doing other things to build your business, you have a potential argument to make saying, why a podcast today, now, this year, right? Which you can do. So that value proposition, if you're solving the problem where they're not focusing and they're not clear, which is another focus, right? Yeah. On what is the best thing to do what they say they want. Right, because I hear a million different things I should do. If I just stop everything and just follow these instructions, or do this one thing, or these three things, I'll get there. Well, which one do I trust? Why should I trust you, right? That's got to be all in it. So if you solve the problem of feeling overwhelmed and unfocused, I'm just about my business dreams, you're going to come in there and say, I'm going to help you with focus. Of course, I want you to choose my solution, of course, but podcasting. And for those who are leaning into podcasting as a potential, you should be the preeminent voice in that space that harmonizes with them so perfectly. That if you've even been thinking about buying a motorcycle this year, come into Jim Davis Motorcycles and get yours this weekend. It's the same thing. If you've even been thinking about podcasting, talk to me. And then you can convince them why podcasting and why with you. And the benefit is I will be focused just in general. And maybe the fact that I've been thinking about it, haven't done it, maybe is evidence I'm not focused or I'm distracted. So if you're giving people focus and clarity, people who were even your target audience, people even thinking about podcasting would be a very good place to start. So you are a motivational coach helping people doing podcasting. I know what podcasting is. I know what a coach is. Great. Come on in. What is your value proposition? The problem you're solving is that people who are potentially considering doing podcasting are feeling overwhelmed, distracted, and they're just not getting traction going towards what they said they want, and nothing seems to be working really well. You're there to say it's podcasting. You're thinking about podcasting? Let's do podcasting. I can show you how to make it efficient, less work, not overwhelming, right? Yeah. All those main points. Ooh, 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 what's in it for me? Ooh, ooh, okay, I get it. Now, why should I trust you? The wide part of the pyramid, which becomes the diamond, 3 pillars, your CB, your personal experience, your case history stories, success stories, and why it's true. All right, Chris Burns, you've been doing motivational boom, boom, boom for how long? You've been putting your things out on podcasts, and you have people in the world doing podcasts. You know what's going on. Look where you've been. Okay, trust you. In the middle, all the people who have done amazing things and their lives have changed because of what you've taught them and helped them to do. Holy cow, you know your successes. And third, what are the trends about podcasting? You know, podcasting was the thing, and then podcasting is dead. Now podcasting because of video and all that, and the growth of social media is coming up again. Trends, Forbes magazine said, and Wired magazine said, and Facebook trends are saying, oh, wow. Okay, I know what you do. That's a value proposition that solves the problem I'm currently feeling, and it's giving me the things I think I want. You're experienced at doing it. You've had success stories, and my God, this certainly is a thing. What's your value proposition again? What's your offer? That's how you do it. I've done this before.
I love it. And tell us more about how the diamond links to living like today could be our last day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, anyone who wants a diamond, just say, I want the diamond from Chris, and then he'll send it to you, or share it, or whatever, or post it, make download it. I don't care. It's for your life. This would be very interesting. I've never done this before. So a diamond for someone's life, the first thing is, well, human being. What everything human being is. What problem did you solve? And what was in it for the human race? What problem are you solving now? A lifelong problem. And what did you give the human race, whichever part you were affecting? And then there's your epitaph, and there's your obituary. He did this, and she did this, and then she did this, and then she did this. And here's the people that she touched or he touched, and have those great success stories. And you know what? The effect was this became a thing. It became a thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. And then if it really is an obituary, then the value proposition would be the epitaph on the stone, and the offer would be, well, see you in the next incarnation. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's focusing on who you are, what you really most want to do. And, you know, I'm lucky or cursed or whatever, because I know what I want to do for the rest of my life, whether that's for the next 5 minutes or another, 50 years or so. You know, that would be interesting, because I want to keep doing what I'm doing in whatever form it is. That's why, no matter how old I get, I'm never going to be an old fogey, because the new stuff, I just embrace it and anticipate and take it on. I'm always taking on the new. I honor the old, but I don't hold on to it. So if my business becomes robotic and instantaneous and purely digital and nothing tangible or hand done, fine, I'll still be there. But it's still what I want to do in that intro is still going to be accurate.
That's good. So I think for me, the question of how would I show up today? How would I act and behave differently if today was my last day? I think that would give me more of a sense of urgency and inspire me to impact and make a difference in more people's lives.
All right, play it out right now. You here, play that out. You know you're going to die. Okay, you're going to die tonight at midnight. Okay. And you can't change where anyone is because even if you fly in, you have to allow for flight time. So what could you do in the hours you have left to say, life well lived?
So today, what could I do in the hours left?
What would you have to do, knowing that you're going to be dead tonight? You're not going to see another sunrise. You're not going to have another breakfast or lunch. You're not going to have another Wednesday. No more marathons.
I would contact for me, it's like, how do I leverage my voice, right? And I leverage my voice through other people who already have audiences and influence. And once that message gets out, then it spreads like wildfire. So I would contact people like Tom Bilyeu, Tony Robbins, and Gary Vaynerchuk and say, hey, I've been doing these 12-hour marathons. This is the 93rd one. This is the last one I'll ever do. I just want your people to know that when you show up and you live big, everything works out for you. Play big. Get this message out to your people. Invite them to the last 8 hours, 6 hours of the 12-hour marathon. Let's have this be the best fucking marathon ever.
Oh, okay. So you would take the people you most want to be buddies with and invite them to this marathon today. I would suggest.
What?
Very likely you would probably not reach them directly, but you'd pick up the phone. You'd say, look, you ever see the movie Magnolia?
Mm-mm. No.
Wow. Well, it'd be interesting if you made a phone call and said, look, I just found out I'm dying tonight. I've got one last message to put out to the world. This is what I do. Is so-and-so available? Oh, really? He's flying? Okay, all right. Can you give me an email address? Because I'm going to record a video. I'm going to send it to you and a few other people. How would that feel? Would you feel like, there, I've said my piece?
I would say it's not about contacting them and telling them the message. It's about what they can do to inspire and ignite their audiences to all come.
Well, isn't that up to what your message is? I'm just saying a video might be the way to do it. People can always watch, and maybe those people say, I got the most amazing video from this guy who apparently died tonight, and he knew he was dying, and this is his last words. And maybe it would spread and influence lots about it.
Yeah. No, that could be the most viral video ever.
Maybe. But I mean, and the thing is, you see, this exercise, it's not designed to go, I'm going to die, to kind of a depressed, kind of like, oh, what's the use? I got to send the last message. No. Like, burn out. Don't fade away. Burn out and literally just say the most glorious, amazing thing. It doesn't have to be a sobering kind of all right, one at a time, come to the bed here and kiss my ring, and I will pass on my. If that's your thing, do it. But go out and dance till you die, whatever. You know what I mean? Just see what I mean? That necessity and that vitality, even when playing with an exercise, you can bring that to everything you do anyway. Otherwise, what are we saying? That here's a kind of a halfway message because I haven't summed it up yet, and this isn't as vital as, so I'll just put it out there. I've got a message for a potential client that I really need to sort of close on something because it's a little dynamic group and there's some fear about something. If you say you want to fly to Europe, why would you only fill the plane up with half the gas? If you're saying we don't want to borrow that much money, can we do it cheaper or whatever? It's like, well, why would you want to go somewhere? And how would it be if we had half the gas in it? If you're going to do something, you got to do it all the way. Doesn't mean you're irresponsible, but you got to do it all the way to give it its chance. If I said, here, I'm writing a novel or whatever, and this is my life's work, we'll finish it then. Act like it's your life's work. And that spirit of necessity, that spirit of vitality, that spirit of expressed, liberated passion can be, and obviously I'm saying it should be, in the essence of everything we do every day. Because one of these days, it'll be the last.
I think it's the people's biggest challenge is keeping that front and center, top of mind and right in front of us.
Front and center or systemic. Like, in other words, like, are you aware of the breathing you're doing and the blood circulating throughout your system? Think about it. Maybe you might be. It needs to be systemically essential like that. Sometimes it'll be front and center, but I mean, it has to be systemically essential or essentially systemic.
Yes, sir.
Let's link to that.
Yes, sir.
Drinking problem? I have no drinking problem.
I love it. So we covered a lot of really great stuff. Let's recap it and drive it home.
It's in the title. Work like you die today. Is what you're doing an accurate, ultimate expression of what your life meant? Make it so.
Yeah.
You'll thank. Don't thank me for it, but just do it and reap the benefits. I want to be thanked for this. Just do it. Make the work better. Make it. No, the thing is, maybe not every human being, when their life is over, maybe there's a lot of people that someone would think, wow, oh, she finally died. Wow, what a thoroughly average existence that was. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, she was okay. She didn't really reach anybody. I mean, she didn't really inspire anyone. She didn't eat that much, I guess. Who's going to bury her? You know, I mean, if that's the main thing people are going to say about most people, maybe it's okay. But in case you suspect, in case you sometimes dream or wonder if maybe you're special, or maybe you've got a burning ambition, desire to mean something in this life. Yeah. But if someone's watching this, I suspect they have that.
Absolutely.
Like in your world right now, you got to get people who suspect that podcasting might be a thing they should look into.
Yeah.
Who should they trust? They should trust the person who says, this is so damn important to me right now.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, Paul. This is great. And our audience wants to know how they can stay connected with you. What's the next step they can take on their journey?
My name is there. You know how to use Facebook.
Yep.
Hey, I will never fail by over respecting my audience's intelligence.
That's true. That's true. So you can absolutely connect with Paul MacFarlane, searching his name on Facebook, and also visit the 1101experiment.org. Go check them out and send them an email as well if you want.
Make it simple. Once you're on, connect me on Facebook. You want the website, I'll send it to you. It's easy. It's easy. You're on Facebook. Find me on the Book of Faces.
Cool. Love it. Dude, Paul, thank you for being here. Great discussion. Thank you for the insight around my brand and the message of it.
I'll interview you anytime, brother.
And you're great at it, man. You're great at it.
I learned from the best.
Take care, man.
Thanks. Do you too.